That's okay.
It's Mercury retrograde.
Donna will fix it. Okay, good. So we are streaming. I'm just going to check with my team to make sure I am live and everything's make sure we're live and everybody can hear us. And good. Oh, good. There it's showing up. There's always such a delay too, right? Yeah. Oh, now I got to turn myself off. Everything's going in and out, on and off, on and off. It's so funny. Okay. It's like the screen's there and then I go to click on it and it disappears. So we're just gonna make sure that we're up and running here. I think we're getting there. I'll just say hi. Hi, everybody. Okay, good. I think we're good. So we're gonna go back over here and get started with our first guest. Oh my God, this is so exciting. You're the first guest.
I'm so excited.
Yeah. So yesterday we started, it was a lot of fun. Make sure you go back and you check it out. This is Akasha here, Nanakasha from The Infinite Show and nanakasha.com. So you get on nanakasha.com, you'll get notices about all the things we do and other goodies. And if you subscribe here to the YouTube channel and click notifications, you'll know whenever we go live. And it's a pretty handy thing to have. And we've got a whole week. So this is the whole week of who am I becoming? Because it seems to be the number one thing on people's minds is like, you know, that doesn't work for me anymore. I'm waking up and realizing so many things I thought were important in my life really aren't important or weren't important, or I'm not going to stress about it anymore. So I hope that you'll join me all week because I will be doing another epic show at the end of the week. And in the meantime, we've got all these incredible guests. Yesterday, I took you through a 30-minute deep healing process where we went into another life in your soul or past, quote unquote, to find an ancient power that your soul is ready to access. So it's quite incredibly powerful. And we're going to be having a course coming up soon about all of that good stuff. And we've got some specials going on right now in the shop, so you can go check that out. And of course, don't forget to check out the retreats. Those are coming up in July and December. And here's a peek at our schedule. So today, we are talking with Donna Stellhorn, and I'm going to share her with you in a moment. If you've been on my shows before, you might be familiar with her. And we're going to talk about that. She's a master astrologer. So let's go ahead and take a peek at Donna. So Donna is an astrologer. She's a Feng Shui expert. She's written 18 books, including Feng Shui Form and the best-selling booklet Sage and Smudge. She's a 30-year master astrologer, wow, in both Western and Chinese astrology and Feng Shui. And she writes weekly and monthly predictions for astrology.com and horoscope.com. And her newest courses are Tarot the Easy Way and Finding Hidden Money in Your Chart. Now, you can go to her website at donnastellhorn.com, or you probably most definitely want to check out her YouTube channel, youtube.com/Donna Stellhorn. All that information will be in the replay email for you if you get on the list at nanakasha.com, and we'll make sure that you can get a hold of her in the description down below as well. And she does live with her magical cat, LaRue, who I have heard or seen on occasion in Oceanside. So thank you so much for being here. Yay.
Thank you so much. I'm so excited to be here.
Yeah, it's fun. We are in Mercury retrograde, so we're acknowledging that there's
Mercury retrograde. And we had it, during eclipse season. So yes. If lightning strikes, we know why.
If lightning strikes you while you're hiding under the bed, there's a reason.
Yes, yeah.
I know. So I learned something really new from you recently. So Donna is my teacher. I'm learning more and more astrology from her, and she's incredible intuitive, which is, there's a million astrologers out there. But one of the reasons that I like you is because you speak my language. We resonate. You're more spiritual or intuitive, and you are incredibly intuitive. I like how you're able to really not just look at data, but interpret data, right? Because this is symbolism and language, all different energies interjecting. Well, this one alone means that, but now it's with this, and then it means that. And if any of you track this, the the eclipses that we just went through, which is important to acknowledge, right? We just had the second one on Friday and the other one a few weeks before. The first one was at a critical degree, 29 degrees. And my partner, who I live with, matched that critical degree and matched a lot of the signs, and, you know, and all of that. So he had a huge potential eclipse and I had a not potential eclipse. And then I got his energy and I got to have the critical experience. So that was, I said to you, what's up?
Yes, that's something people don't realize, that
No, so
when you have people close in your life, if they're doing the energy, it can transfer to you. And your chart doesn't show the energy, but you get it.
Yeah. So you were like, well, you know, so far Chris is fine. And I had this epic, you know, I got a root canal and pain and just a whole bunch of stuff and fit into my own personal path. And you were like, well, it came into the house and then it went to the person who needed it most. And I'm like,
sorry.
So, but well, good. So here we are. It's 2023. We're, you know, a few years into this decade that's been predicted for millennium by all the ancient cultures of this time frame of the grand transformation, the societal reset, the metamorphosis, all the different names that people have for this time. And I think, you know, from 2012 till a few years ago, we were kind of like, is anything going to ever happen? Now we're like, oh, yes. Okay. Thank you.
Oops.
So let us know, like, or if there's anything you want to share about yourself, why you got into this, because I know we've talked to you before, but some people might be new. And why is this such powerful information to have during any part of your life, really, but now?
These are great questions. You know, I think when we look back in history, it's so funny because we think of people who lived during, you know, turbulent times, and we wonder, you know, did they realize what was going on at the time? And I think now that we are all doing that we say, oh yeah, people do realize. So, and I think one thing to remember is that, you know, we're all fully formed souls when we enter this life. And so we know that we're coming here to witness this. And so sometimes the burden is a lot, and we do need to take it step by step, and we need to find people that we can lean on when we need to. But this is it. We need to remember that we chose to be here. And so, and because that is for our soul's highest good. And then we try to do good every day. So if we work our way from the biggest out, you know, inward, Pluto is changing signs. And so Pluto has gone from Capricorn into Aquarius. It's there for a little bit. It's going to go back into Capricorn and then be fully in Aquarius next year. But this little bit has made so many big changes. I think that, you know, when we were standing outside Pluto and Aquarius, I was thinking, wow, you know, I can see all the potential. But now that we're here and I see that AI is going to change so much in the world, I think, oh, I was thinking too small. But Pluto and Aquarius is more than just technology. It's about community. And so, and it's going to, you know, what Pluto tends to do is it first removes anything that's not necessary. You know, it purifies things. And so that means that whatever crutch we're leaning on that we feel is going to be solid and that's going to get us through, if Pluto doesn't deem that as necessary, it's just going to take it away. So, and then once that crutch is gone, we realize, oh, wait, I'm okay. I don't need that. I can adjust. And so when it comes to community, Pluto will take us in both directions because all the sign energy is a spectrum. And so there's intense community where you have your tribe and you feel so connected. And then there'll be this isolation idea of, I'm going to be completely independent. I'm going to go farm by myself, just me and the goats, you know. So So we're going to be somewhere on this spectrum. And so if you're looking for community, Pluto and Aquarius is the ideal time. And I should say Pluto and Aquarius is going to last like 20 years. This is the ideal time to start to build that community.
Yeah. So Pluto is the god of the underworld in mythology, right? And so underworld not being hell, okay, like a Christian hell or something like that, but being the other side of us, right? The subconscious or the shadow side, or the stuff we hide or the stuff we bury, or that, but it's also death and rebirth, right? And
yes, the power of rebirth is there. And that's what we mean by the purification, where, you know, the metal goes into the fire and it comes out stronger because the impurities are getting burned away.
Yeah.
So, but yeah, as that, I know that doesn't sound like a pleasant process.
Forged by fire, yes.
So,
my friend from college, my best friend from college had children before I did. And I think her son was 5. And she told me, parenthood is like being forged into a beautiful sword. A lot of fire, a lot of pain, a lot of pounding, you know, just like all the stuff that goes into make this sword is in the heat and out of the heat and pounding and molding and shaping. And
yes. So that's exactly right. And so but if you are your personal blacksmith of your life, then the heat and the pounding and all of that, you're controlling that. And that's also Pluto. It's about power and control, and not control in a rigid sort of way, but an understanding that things change, that everything's on a cycle. You know, that's one of the things that astrology reminds us is it's time's not linear. It's a cycle, you know, and so if like when you think of the Wheel of Fortune card, you know, like sometimes you're up, sometimes you're down, and the wheel keeps spinning. And so if you're in a down place right now, well, then yay, because you're on your way back up. Right. So, but if you're feeling like, oh, now things are starting to deteriorate and stuff like that, then, you know, start to let go so that you can get through this process more quickly, so you can get through the transformation more quickly.
Yeah. So everything that we can read, so to speak, interpret and decode from astrology, all different types and whatever, but this kind of a language is really isn't like the old-fashioned psychic, right? That used to be like, oh, you will meet your love tomorrow, you know, or something like that, because it's more like understanding what all these energies are, like Pluto. Okay, it's a big deal right now because it only changes signs every 20 years. So we've been used to it being in one way. So it wasn't that it wasn't affecting us for those 20 years. It's just that now we're going to notice more because we got used to, right?
Right, because it's changing and we notice change.
Yeah, and we notice change.
Yes.
And then we need to look at it in a big view, because 20-year period is pretty long. And I think it's in Aquarius now till June or July or something. Or so, is it October?
Yeah, you caught me there.
No, it's I think it's part of this year, then it goes back into Capricorn.
Yes.
Into next year.
Right. So it's in Aquarius till June 11th, and then it will be back on January 20th.
Yeah.
And actually then it steps back into Capricorn just a few months in 2024. So I was wrong when I said before that it was permanently there. So it will be 2025 really before it's fully there. And it will still even take a few years for us to figure out what exactly it's going to do there.
Right. So that's what I was getting to, is like the unfolding of these energies being more of a continuous thing.
Yes. So that's, you know, like that's the outermost planet. And then one of the big guys in the news will be Jupiter going into Taurus. So now that's going to be May 16, and that will last for about a year. Now, that means that Jupiter has not been in Taurus and you haven't been affected by this for 12 years. So you could look back and say, what was I doing 12 years ago? So, but, so Jupiter's in Aries right now, and Aries is about, self-expression and taking care of the physical body. And, do I have energy to go do things? And then Taurus is about money, possessions, self-worth, a sense of, deserving, and how, because Jupiter is big, it's the biggest planet of the solar system, it's about where is the abundance and how abundant this world is and this universe is, and how we can call this abundance in it, but it must align with our sense of deserving. So, and it's a lot about sense of self-worth, not necessarily how others feel about you.
Yes.
And this is why we get some people out there who have a lot of abundance, but may not be, aligned with positive energies, that they have a feeling of self-worth. And so they get it.
Yeah.
And so,
That
but
is so true.
there's so many people out there who struggle with self-worth.
Struggle so much. I mean, I did my whole life, just, most of my life, I was excellent, and because I had that drive to be the best. So I was constantly trying to be better and never thought I was, even when things happened. So I would receive things, but not fully believe I deserved them at some deeper level.
Yeah.
But I studied money and the concept of money and the energy of money. And why do some people have money? Because I kept making millions of dollars and losing it all. And then, I went through over many years. So I studied, I zoned in on one person that I knew. And I said, why does that person have money? They don't believe spiritual things. They don't, do this. They don't, all these things like, oh, money will come to you if you're a nice person and you kiss all the flowers every day. No, money will go to you. Right. And I was really curious about that, like looking at, and underneath it, what I discovered was they acted in alignment with their beliefs, and they received the result that their belief told them they would.
Yes. That's a really important point. And, and what you struggled through, so many of us struggle through, of, that we are told we're not worthy, and sometimes by people who just want our stuff, and sometimes by people who also had the same damage in their life. And so they're accidentally passing it down. But I think that with self-worth, we have to remember that it's self-worth, and we have to stop looking for it outside of us. And as we come to the end of the day, each day, to say, okay, how do I feel about me? And maybe it's because of the things you did, maybe it's because of who you are, but you can say, I'm okay, I'm okay. And you practice those words until they become part of you. And that's what shifts it.
Yeah. So Pluto is going to be, it feels to me like we're dipping our toe in and then back out, and dipping it like we're getting used to the new waters, like we go in and we go back, we go. So comparing Capricorn to Aquarius, do a little bit of that for us, because we're coming out of this planet, and the outermost planet, that because it's the outermost planet, that has a particular energy to it too.
Correct. As they get farther out, they get more powerful, they move more slowly. So Pluto is something that unfolds over a long period, and it's generally unfolds as you wake up one day and you have this realization, and then your life has changed.
Oh, wow.
So versus something like Saturn or Jupiter, which is, somebody comes and says, here's a job opportunity, but you think, oh my goodness, it's so out of my comfort zone. And so that one's more, okay, I need to take action on this. Okay. And as these two energies, as the Pluto and Aquarius, let me answer your first question first. So the Capricorn energy and the Aquarian energy is actually more related than people know, because they are both ruled by Saturn.
Oh, yeah.
But it's interesting because it's the two ends again. So Capricorn is about the past, and, it is about, that the past was better, and let's make the past our present. It's a lot of nostalgia and saying, oh, back then it was so easy to do such and such, and this was better, etc. And Aquarius is all about the future, and it's all about, let's do something new, let's do it differently. And it is almost, let's do it different just for different sake. We just need to change something. And so you can almost think of it as a clash of generations, where the old generation is just starting to lose ground here, and our music's just not as popular anymore, that sort of thing, where I don't like the kids' music, it's that sort of shift that we're going through now.
And so does that mean that if this is like a planet of transformation and endings, beginnings, so to speak, they're happening in all the different areas of our life, right?
Yes.
And so there might be an ending or beginning happening with a health issue or with a relationship or with a job, but it's different for everybody, right?
Yes, it could be like a realization that you have that, oh goodness, it's my attitude, my stress level that is compounding my health issue. Or you realize, oh, I'm not getting a lot of traction on my resume, but my resume looks like 1980, and so it's just you have like a little light bulb goes off, and Pluto then can transform your world through that one realization.
So realizations and transformation. Okay, good. And so then Capricorn being a little bit about hard work too, is that right?
Hard work and responsibilities. And we saw a lot of, where people were taking responsibility, where people weren't taking responsibility. And so out in the world, we have these huge examples of the extremes of Capricorn, where we see, we elevated business people to be superheroes, and two guys in New York in their apartment start Airbnb, and it's just revolutionary, and one crazy guy wants to go to Mars and things like that. And yet we also saw the worst sides of people, where they were in positions of power and tried to be dictators or not take responsibility or not be community minded in any way. And that's all going to shift. And I think that it will take about 5 years for this transition, where we're going to have a little bit of an overlap.
Yeah.
But we're going to go into a new time. And if you think about some of the Pluto transits from the past of, like the World War II generation, the Pluto and Leo generation, like how transformative that was in their lives, or the Pluto and Virgo generation, where there was the 60s and, and then health and all of that got transformed, and the Pluto and Libra generation transformed relationships. And that's where we did start to accept the gay community, and that where there were differences in people, and, and so on. And so we keep going. And so now we're going to be looking at how we're going to integrate everything, like, are we a community? Or are we all separate? So are we going to make really strong boundaries or no boundaries? Is there a boundary between me and technology? Is technology going to be incorporated in us, right? So that I say, oh, call this person, and it just automatically calls. I know.
No.
It's scary, but there are people being born right now who are going to expect this.
Well, I don't mind the psychic ability. Like, I think everybody should be trained in Reiki when they're 1 year old. It's like turning on a faucet to me. It's just like plugging in the electrics or turning on the electrics, and then everybody should be learning their energy medicine and learning their psychic abilities and finding what their intuitive gifts are from a very young age, because, you could have a lot more going on than that. And another one of my guests is testing people. They have scientific proof of psychic powers and
I
everything.
think that that's one of the things this is going to do. It's going to take some of our more esoteric sciences and say, here's why that works. And it's kind of like the transformation that feng shui went through. Feng shui was like, oh, it seems so woo woo. And then environmental psychologists started to say, oh, but wait, there's actually some proof here of if you put a door here, or, if there's too much wood here, it actually does affect people. And so,
yeah, it's quite powerful. So the fact that we were going through Pluto and Capricorn, and we've had these transformations of becoming, because I'm starting to put some things together based on this, like thinking about how I've been in energy medicine and homeopathic doctor and all that for a long time. And I've had to study the history of a lot of those kinds of things. So there's been a lot of history of taking away people's freedom with knowing that they have the right to, or they have these other options available to them, alternative and medicines and so on. And but it's that when you said, oh, we learned that now that people are different and we can accept that. And so the polarity that we're seeing, and one of my spiritual mentors a million years ago told us this, and never in my wildest dreams did I imagine the gap that could happen. He said, you're going to start to see more and more, this was in the late 80s, you're going to see more people moving to opposite directions. And every year, I think right now, well, that's about it. And no, it keeps going further. And this is something that really distracts a lot of people. It really stresses a lot of people. They're over here trying to have a healing business and be lovey-dovey and live their life and figure out those things. And then they listen to the news and they go, one lady on my class says, but what do we do about the economy? They say that it might crash. So how am I supposed to focus on my business, and how am I supposed to live my life, and how am I supposed to heal myself? Because I'm all stressed out about that. And it was, I said, that's one person's opinion.
Right. I think when it comes to the news, like, do you remember there was a TV show long ago called 24? And it was a real action show. And the concept was that each hour episode was 1 hour in a day. And the day was just packed with horrible things happening, and things were blowing up and a lot of guys running. And if you will start to think of the news as that TV show, then you'll have more of a perspective of what's actually happening in the news, which is, it's a lot of speculation and it's a lot of a TV show. Like it's a show. And it's wants your eyeballs, it wants your attention. And so, but it doesn't need it. And you can say, I'm going to trust that I can turn this off and the information that I need will find its way to me.
That's what happens in my life. Believe me, if it needs to find me, it finds me. Yeah.
Yes.
But so how to give us some more understanding about this polarity shift? And then what I'm thinking about is, if we're coming out of Pluto and Capricorn, does that mean that we were working hard, or we were needing to work hard at these transformations?
What was necessary is to take responsibility for our own experience.
Okay, got it.
And now we are going to transition into something where it says, now, can we embrace change? Can we? Because, we get so comfortable so quickly. I know I do. And so can we say, oh, here's a new technology, or, oh, here's a new way of doing things, or here's a new route on the freeway. Can we adjust? And make changes? Can we accept others who have differing opinions than us? That's also very Aquarius. We're going to split into different groups, but can we not fight with the groups, but just say, oh yeah, those are the bowlers. Everything's about bowling,
Yeah. Like, there's realities that don't exist for me. I don't watch football. I don't track football, but somebody who loves it would know the scores, the people, the this, the that, when it's going on. It's a part of their reality and it's in their schedule. It's
Yes.
literally a part of their reality. It is not a part of my reality. So
And yet there's no war that goes on between
Exactly.
you, the non-football person, and the footballer.
Yeah.
And that's what we need to remember. It doesn't have to be a war.
Yeah. So Pluto is doing that shift, and then you were starting to talk about Jupiter. So then Jupiter
So
is
why
big
Jupiter is
expansion.
important is because when Jupiter, which expands things, when the first thing it's going to do is it's going to square that Pluto, which means it's going to start talking to that Pluto. And as it does, the most natural thing, the most natural energy of that is to feel some inspiration or ambition to do something. And so this is going to start around, well, in the next 8 days. And so you could, and everybody out there could suddenly receive an idea, a seed that says, this is what you could accomplish over the next 5 years, 10 years, 20 years. And it might just be like a little light bulb that goes off that you go, oh, I think I want to create a foundation, or I want to go learn to speak this language, or I'm going to create an art mural piece for my neighborhood, like some idea. It's going to be individual for everyone. But this, if you say, okay, I've received this, I'm not going to just toss the seed aside and say, oh, I could never do that. I say, okay, I'm just going to hold on to this because this is a long germination.
Yeah. So that sudden seed, and then so explain a square a little bit more.
So a square just is one of those astrological aspects that say that two planets are having a conversation. So when you think of yourself at a party, you're not talking to everyone at once and you can't hear all conversations, but you know how you're talking to somebody and then suddenly you hear something out of the corner of your, or out of the corner of your ear. That's weird. But suddenly, like you hear your name across the room and you go, ding, and you say, oh, I heard my name. And suddenly you're listening. And that's what's going to happen is suddenly Jupiter, which is about knowledge and experience and expansion, will get a message from Pluto to say, here's something, here's some sort of transformation that can happen. And you're going to get that little seed. You're going to get that little message, and it can stay in you all furled up and, dry out and all that, or it can just blossom. And we blossom it, we grow it by just giving it a little bit of love, a little bit of water, a little bit of, oh, I think I'll go explore that.
Give it a little attention.
A little tiny bit of attention.
Hear it. Yeah. And then, so squares, though, are typically not considered good in the sense of, like, oh, great, you've got a square happening. So it can also be things, not going well, falling apart, disappearing, and be a struggle. But ultimately, what I learned from you is that it's to drive us to new action, to take a look for a new path.
I think where we're going to feel with this particular aspect, I think where we're going to feel the struggle is the seed that gets dropped down into us could be so out of our comfort zone that our initial reaction is like, I'm not the hero here. Don't call me to this journey. I'm not ready.
Very interesting. Too big.
Yeah, because it's a square demands some sort of action. And yet in the hero's journey, right, which we're all on, sometimes people who are called go, nope, that call is for somebody else. And I'm going to go do my life. And I don't know if you've ever read The Alchemist by Paulo Coelho, right? So he talks about both the boy who's following his destiny, but also the shopkeeper, the glasses salesman who did not.
Yes.
Is still, he just has this feeling like he missed out on something all the time.
Yeah, a lot of people feel that way right now. A lot of people are waking up and it's quite sudden, or they're waking up and they're skills are coming back. I have clients that come to me once or twice and sometimes suddenly start having their psychic abilities from their childhood come back that they'd even forgotten about. And some people are waking up and have no context and no one around them to help them know they're not mentally ill, right? Yeah, and so, but the idea that we need to become the container for the bigger than we have been. We cannot play small anymore. It's that classic thing. It's just, we just can't. It's no, I've been getting messages for my clients and students, for myself, for a couple of years now. Stop waiting, stop waiting. Someone will come and say, I want to talk to my higher self. And sometimes I hear it and sometimes I don't. And I'm just waiting for this to be done. Or I'm doing the same spiritual practice for 400 years now. And why isn't it changing? Maybe a change needs to happen, right? But it is that accepting, because we're coming out of a patriarchal thing that said someone else tells you who you are, what you are, and how good you are.
Yes. And, and sometimes I hear from clients, I hear it a lot, which is, how can I feel confident? How can I feel ready? How can I feel like, this is the right way? And I say, here's the problem. You're going to feel that after you've done it. After you've finished, that's when the confidence comes.
That's true.
It's when you're going to feel like, this was the right direction, is when you're looking back over the path.
Yeah.
Yes.
So that certainty that we've had from the logical training that says, I need to know the plan before I take action. I need to have the 5-year plan, and I need to know my goals, and why hasn't it happened yet? And this isn't done, so I have to do this. My husband used to be unwilling to read a new book because he had a book on the shelf he'd bought before, and he should read that first. And I thought, but this book is calling you right now. So that's a really big deal right there.
Yes. Yeah.
And so the seed's going to drop into us, and when you feel it and how you feel it and what area of your life it's for, right? That's all this cosmic information is giving you the container and the energies and the possibilities. And then it unfolds, and it might be bam, like I got my pain root canal last week, or it might be 3 weeks from now, or it might be,
this is going to last, this energy is going to last for a whole year. And this is that a lot of people are going to get this in the next couple of weeks, but it could be that you get this in June. You could get this one in October, so what you want to be aware of are new thoughts that pop into your head, and which is the basis of intuition anyway. When we're trying to determine what is intuition and what's just, our self, our little monkey mind playing tricks on us, it is when the information or when the idea seems completely different, then it came from a different source. Yeah.
Well, that's, it's, I know that it's hard for people who are very stuck in their logical mind, and they want the proof before they do anything and all that. When I see the money, or when I know this, and when I have the guarantee, then I'll take a step. And that's
and I get it. Security is very important, but the biggest security that you can have is adaptability. It is to look at something that's new and not be afraid of it. And that includes technology.
Yeah, especially now. Yeah.
Yes.
The technology, like you were mentioning with the Aquarian age coming, the technology not just being like, everybody can be an artist, or everybody can write an article, right? Or your job or some jobs might disappear, but it's okay because you get to be more creative now, right? You get to do something of your own.
We're getting tools, and the tools are just getting better. But the presence of the artist is still going to be necessary at the beginning and the end of this. But now they've got an electronic paintbrush, right?
Yes,
so, and so there's, as all new technology comes in, millions of new jobs are going to be created, and there's going to be an emphasis on interpersonal connections. Those, of course, will be the jobs that really last, is person to person. That cannot be replaced.
Yeah, exactly.
So
what we do.
Yes. And as we go more into a technology world, we're going to crave spirituality more, and people will say, this is what I'm searching for. So again, what we do.
Yeah. So what else is Jupiter doing after it squares Pluto?
Well, Jupiter will go through Taurus, and Taurus is about a sense of financial security, and it is about possessions, and what makes you feel comfortable and what makes you feel safe. And because Jupiter expands that, there's going to be this desire just to be comfortable and not get up out of the chair. We do have, I mean, we are kind of spoon-fed entertainment, and I'm going to include the news in that entertainment. And it's 24/7 at the push of a button. And sometimes it's very difficult for the universe to speak to us if we constantly have something already speaking to us. And so the Jupiter in Taurus really wants to just sit and lounge around and be entertained.
Potatoes.
Yes. But a better use for that would be, meditating on the abundance that you have, living in gratitude, and that can put you in a place of attracting more.
So does that also mean if Jupiter expands and I'm glad we're bringing up the two sides, because I often teach the universal laws or the Hermetic principles, and the law of vibration says, everything's two sides of a coin. Lack and abundance are the same thing. It's like a thermostat, 0 to 100. One's this way, one's that way. And then there's all the degrees in between. And so if Jupiter's expanding the desire for comfort and security, then that could be not necessarily on the good side of the scale, right? It could make us more lethargic, or it could raise up, I'm ready for my own place. I deserve to have a nice chair, or it's time for me to create my home to reflect me, to support me, instead of it being cluttered or being decorated for someone else.
Yes.
So we can take that expansive energy around all those qualities that Taurus holds, money, comfort, home, possessions, all of that, and it might expand attachments, needs, cravings, or insecurity, because we get attached to, if I lose this, it's an identity loss and all of that.
Right. Yeah.
But we can also then channel that, right, into, oh, I have this project and I would like it to make money.
Yes,
I would like that to
expand the money-making capabilities and our sense that it's okay that more money comes in, and looking at the stuff we have and saying, I don't need to hold on to, this junk. I can actually have quality things in my life. So we can be in an abundance mindset with this Jupiter in Taurus.
I live with a Taurus, and I can tell you that my Taurus isn't into a lot of stuff. There might be Tauruses that are into a lot of stuff. I don't know. But my Taurus likes nice things, but the one thing, right? So it's like, I need a bag for my computer, or I need a thing to organize X, and look until the perfect thing is found. And then he has that, and then he has it for a long time. So I'm very impressed with some of the qualities of that too. Well, I think it's important because Jupiter's my planet. I'm a Sagittarius. So I think it's great, and expansion and good fortune and happiness and partying. And that's what I always think it's about. But we have to recognize these energies can expand things that like pain or grief, or they can expand things like success and joy.
Yes. And when we put that with Pluto, we get ambition. And that is that, because Pluto is about power and who has the power, and are you giving away your power? Jupiter's going to expand whichever way you're doing it. Are you collecting power? And power, by this definition, would be, can you make choices in your life? Are you being held hostage by a bad job, or the fears of whatever's going to happen in some faraway government office? Are you saying, no matter what, I'm going to be okay because I'm going to deal with things head on? And that is the ambition of Jupiter and Pluto.
Nice. Okay. What else is going on?
The other thing that's going on, well, there are so many things, but so Saturn's now in Pisces.
Oh yeah, the good old Saturn. my
Yes.
friend.
And this is such an interesting combination because Saturn is about rules and boundaries, and Pisces is about no boundaries. And so as Saturn is there looking for, okay, well, who's in charge here? Pisces says there is no one in charge. So, and this means that whenever we were looking to say, well, I can always lean on that external thing, now it's smoke. And we see this in, important institutions that are, like suddenly all kinds of gunk is being uncovered. And we say, oh, I thought I could believe in that, but no. I thought I could believe in this, but no.
Well, there's no customer service now. Most of the biggest companies that talk about a structure change.
Yes.
No customer service, Facebook and those kind of things brought that online.
Mhm.
There's other things that are going that way as well. So the idea of the structure dissolving, but then Saturn still being that strict, teacher, taskmaster type of thing. But the two sides of it also being that it's there to help you become an expert or to be prepared.
Yes. And now we're going to become an expert in Piscean matters, and that is spirituality, psychic ability, self-healing. And I'll even add ocean and dolphins in that. So, yes. And so that's where we want to put in the effort, because we want to be able to utilize our connection with the universe to make these important choices. If we're all being called with this seed to do something really important, we don't have to do it alone. The hero gets a guide, and that's the universe. And now Saturn is saying, work at this, work on that connection, because for a lot of people out there, the connection's tenuous. It's been interrupted by a lot of noise out there.
Yeah, definitely. So what other things? Because I know Saturn's a pretty tough energy. Can you explain a malefic?
So a malefic just means it's what we term for the slower moving planets, and it's the energy of something being more difficult. So benefic is, well, if you eat sugar, it's the ice cream sundae, and whereas the malefic would be the Brussels sprouts, right? So, but now most of us don't eat ice cream sundaes, and we love the Brussels sprouts.
I don't like Brussels sprouts, but I eat most things green, and I don't eat sugar, so anymore.
But if we think of it, it's the Brussels sprouts that do give us the energy and the vitality and all of that. And so that's really what the malefic's purpose is. But when we get the plate of it, we go, oh, yeah.
It's the bad tasting medicine. It's good for you, right?
Yeah.
You need Mary Poppins with the spoonful of sugar to help the medicine go down. Okay.
Well, or do we? Like if we take the bad tasting medicine, and if you've ever had, that syrupy tea that you get from Chinese medicine, you say to yourself, I'm going to get better as fast as humanly possible, so I never have to drink this tea again.
Very true.
Yes.
Very, very true.
But the other part of this is that with Saturn is joyful when you are the expert, when you are the authority. And so you are climbing this mountain of whatever it is that you're trying to get better at. If you can say to yourself, I'm going to really work at this, lean in and become the best I can be, whether that is, working in an office or, your bowling organization or whatever. If you say I can be the best, Saturn blesses you and says, here, let me give you self-respect and people who honor you and appreciate you. And it gives you so many rewards, plus, financial rewards. So as Saturn goes through Pisces now, we have an opportunity, especially as, psychics, healers, astrologers, all of the metaphysical sciences out there. we can lean in and get better at our craft. And because we have a whole world that's going to be needing us.
Yay, us. Yay, yay, yay. Yeah, I know it's going to take a little time, but when we first talked about the Saturn and Pisces thing, my head went to the negative side and said, okay, does that mean more structures and rules around energy medicine, around intuition, right? And
There's
then
always going to be extremes.
there's always going to be that. But then you were the one that told me yes, but that what if it makes the intuitives or healers or whatever into the experts? Maybe now we'll be seen as the experts and sought
Yes.
after as the experts.
Yeah. Yeah. I think with, again, it's a spectrum. And so it will go to the edges. And because of that, if you are just following the news, you're going to see just the extremes of things, and usually the negative extremes. And you can start to think that that's the whole world.
I think that's what happens to most people. They think that knows, that's the expert, and now what do I do about it? But they feel powerless.
Mm-hmm.
Right? They feel powerless. Yeah. Well, you definitely can take back your power by not. Everything hypnotizes you, regardless. Might be good, might be bad. I don't know, but it's just recognized that it does. So
yes, yeah. If you hear the grass rustling, your ancient part of you says that's going to be a lion and it's going to eat me. And what if, though, we're turning on all these devices that are constantly saying the grass is rustling over here, the grass is rustling over here, and then we wonder why we're frazzled, you know? So I don't think that we have to be, but it's a weird transition during Pluto and Aquarius, which is technology, to say, I'm going to judiciously use my technology. I'm going to control my technology. I'm not going to let technology control me.
that was a good one. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. And that's going to have to happen. I mean, when my kids are 26 now, and when they were little, I barely used a computer. And I didn't put them on a computer. I barely let them watch TV, to be honest, until they got a little older. And I had a friend who told me, you're making your kids weird. They're going to be weird. And I said, I think they'll be okay. And no lie, when I think they were maybe 9 or something, when I finally let them on a computer, boom, 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 just like that. Boom, boom, boom.
Yeah.
But we've gone through that. And then, oh, kids are playing too much, or people are watching too much TV. Or back in my day, it was you're on the phone too much, attached to the wall. Oh, you're on the phone all the time with your friends, right? You're attached to the wall on a phone, or you're watching too much TV, right? And then it was, well, should people be playing all these video games? And I'll be honest with you, I think you need balance in your life. But I looked at the video games and immediately understood we were being trained. We're being trained to understand that we are creators that create with light, that we die and live and gain powers and lose power and all this stuff that they put into these games. And people think virtually now. It is not hard for people to think in a virtual way. And that was a training. So but technology can take over.
Yes, and that has some wonderful spiritual implications and some terrible spiritual implications. And I think that because we're going to go to extremes, there'll be some people who are unplugged completely and say, I'm not going to touch technology. And I don't know if that's the right way. I think it's be better to say, I'm going to, if I need technology, like you need it now to do a resume, to post or something. And so I run into so many people who say, I don't even want to touch it. I don't even want to get near it. And that's not the right answer either. It is that, we can figure it out. We can go online and say, how do you do such and such? You don't have to memorize all of technology. Just figure out the answer to one question at a time.
Yeah. Plus, we can stop learning stupid shit about history and stuff in school. They can change the curriculum, because who needs to memorize dates of a bunch of people who killed each other a long time ago? It to me at the time it was a waste, and now it really is a waste, because you have all that kind of data at your fingertips.
True.
It's no different than, I think it was Ford, right? He was put on trial And they were like, why don't you know all these things? He goes, because I have buttons on my desk. If I need engineering answers, I push that button. And an engineer who knows what the hell he's talking about comes in. That's what we've become.
Yes.
We have buttons on our desk right now. I can say, what does this mean? I don't know what this means. And I can go look up the definition of it, or I can see what other people are saying. But not everybody that's talking about it knows what they're talking about. So that's where the discernment has to come in, really. And it is a self-empowerment. It is taking back our power to.
It's a tool. We have to see it as a tool. And this tool can be used on us, or we can use the tool. We have to be very aware of that.
Harmony. This is why everyone, please learn to activate your light body and clear and cleanse yourself and your space all the time.
Yes.
Don't pick up that.
Yes.
So, okay, good. Well, we're almost out of time. I love all this stuff, of course. And I love to give people these things like we're in this energies now. Okay, we're talking about the right now energies. We are coming out of the eclipse. Anything else that you want to share that people should be aware of since we've gone through the little portal there?
Yes, that this, with all that scary news aside, this could be the most exciting times of our lives. We are going into something that is new. And, deep down, we do like variety. We do want something new. The world could get very exciting, and a lot of the mundane things that we do that we don't like to do, we may not have to do them in the future. Wouldn't that be exciting?
Yes, cleaning. Somebody else can do the cleaning.
There's going to be scientific breakthroughs that are dazzling, and there's going to be just more ability to interact with every soul on the earth. That's so exciting.
Yeah, the fact we can do this is so profound.
It is. It is thousands
time.
Miles apart, and we can talk is amazing.
And everybody at the same time. I started doing healing work when people had to send a snail mail from across the planet. Yes. This is my problem. Here's my hair. They didn't know when I got it. They didn't know when I did the healing.
Yes.
And then I wrote them a letter and sent it back in the mail.
In a single day, I can talk to people in 4 or 5 countries. That's incredible. Whereas before, I could only reach people in my neighborhood.
Yes. Yeah.
So we have so much opportunity right now. And I just want to tell people, don't be scared. You are so much more powerful than you realize.
And all these energies always have, they always come out. How do you put it? The universe is on your side. This is for your soul's good. There's always a reason for the path we're taking.
We're co-creating. Yep.
Yeah, definitely co-creating, because we're in the energies, right?
Yes.
But then we're giving back to the energies by our own emissions, our own radiation of our own feelings, emotions.
Yes, it's both directions. So because, on the other side, there's no body, so they can't do anything. They can only say, oh, it'd be a good idea if people did this. That's why it's co-creating. Because they have the advantage point to see, hey, here's the bigger picture. So I'm going to plant the seed to say, and then, but we're the ones who can actually do something.
Yeah. It's so fun. It's such a fun time to be able to talk to so many people like this about this in this language. I felt like for so long, I was just walking in the desert going, hello.
Well, and you're giving people a platform and a voice. So you're doing so much good out in the world, and I appreciate it.
Oh, thank you. Well, I appreciate you. I just adore you. They're just such a bright light in my life. So, okay, fantastic. Well, thank you. So there's a lot of incredible stuff, and I won't be doing the spiritual weather report myself this week. You've just been given it by the expert. And so take your notes. You might want to listen to this again. I find that, every week I share, but I'll take my notes, and then I have categories of where those things I think are going to be affecting me. So we looked at the big energies right now. We looked at the ways they're interacting with each other. Everything's cycling, everything is moving, everything's transforming. So a couple of years ago, a client of mine who became a very, very good friend, she said to me, but I did everything I was told to do. when's it going to happen? Like it was like a little girl in there who was still like, I did all the things I was told to do.
Right.
And then she got her business perfect, all the employees and all the clients and everything. She reached that beautiful, juicy moment. And within a week, somebody quit.
Oh.
And the whole cart went.
Yeah.
And then she was completely like, but I just got it all perfect. I thought I built the house and I could not have to deal with the house anymore.
Right.
And now a few years later, her business has tripled or quadrupled because she's had to learn nothing is permanent. No client, no employee, no rule, no law, nothing. And like you said, this adaptability you mentioned, this ability to understand there's more than just what's going on in here. You're not alone in what you're experiencing, right? You're experiencing this. We're all experiencing it in different ways, and we can support each other. And there's so many experts like Donna out there that can help you interpret and understand what's going on outside of just your house and your relationships. So,
yeah,
fantastic.
Thank you.
Thank you. So donnastellhorn.com or youtube.com/Donna Stellhorn, and we'll make sure and we give you all of those things. Thank you so much, sweetie. I love you.
Thank you.
Thank you. Take care. Bye.
Bye.
Oh, wonderful. What an incredible start to the week. So make sure you go yesterday and do that process that I gave you. It is an incredibly powerful process. It starts at about an hour and it's 30 minutes. Okay. So we put that in there for you, and I will see you tomorrow with Joan of Angels live here at the Infinite Show. I'm so happy that you're interested in understanding who you're becoming. The idea of asking, who am I, is a very old practice in Zen. And I did it for many years. Who am I? And then what am I? And you can receive a lot of really interesting information. You can ask a tree, you can ask yourself, you can ask a crystal. However, as your intuitive abilities grow, and you're not ungifted, you just haven't been taught how to use them, then you're going to understand every day there's something going on that is opening a door for you. People are seeing huge doors close and huge doors open right now. We're moving into the level of awareness of being a conscious co-creator of who we're becoming, because at this point on the planet, we're the pinnacle life in our soul. That pinnacle life means you are the one that is taking a lot of these wounds and pains from these other lives that say, don't speak up, you'll get your head chopped off. Don't be a healer, you'll be burned at the stake. Don't do this or your family won't love you. And that's what's run our lives. And if it's coming up for you, you're not alone, you're not alone, you're not alone. Believe me, you're not alone. And this is what we're supposed to be doing right now. Having all this come up so we can let the old identities fall away and we can discover who we really are, who we were designed to be, and these vast and incredible powers that we have that are just starting to wake up. So have a beautiful and blessed day, everybody. Namaste. And I ask that this circle be open yet unbroken, and the peace and love and the beauty of this information go with each of us as a clear channel to guide us on our paths. Walk in the light, live in the love, and be who you were designed to be. Thank you, thank you, thank you. Thanks, everybody. See you tomorrow. Okay, let's see.